This is a video tree of the clubs and societies. Is a continuation. I have made short, brief videos so that you don't get bored. Uh, in the previous video, I gave you some concepts about clubs and societies. In the second video, I taught you how to make a stable financial position. Now, in this video, we're going to learn how to make income and expenditure account, which is very important. So, again, you need to have the format ready before you watch the video and do simultaneously so that you understand it perfectly. I recommend you to pause the video and copy the format, and of course you need to also look at video 1 and video 2 before you go to video 3, because simply by looking at video 3 you won't get an idea what has been done before. So the question is this: if you have not copied the question, I recommend you to copy it. This should have been done actually in the video 2 itself. So we're going to start how to make the income statement of the club. So when you're making income statement, all you need to have in your mind is that income statement. When you make income statement, it's very simple. All you need to get is total income, the total of the income, and then from the total income you need to subtract less expenditure. When you subtract this, you will get surplus. Surplus means profit. So what am I trying to say with this is that when you make an income and expenditure, first we list out the total income and then add it up. Suppose the income comes, let's say 100, and then you list out all the expenditure and add it up. Let's say it comes to, suppose 40. Now you can see that income is greater, so the difference is your profit. 100 minus 40 is your profit, which is called a surplus, or you can also term it as excess of income over expenditure. Now sometimes you might have a scenario where expenditure is greater. In that case, you use the word deficit. Okay, we're going to start the question. So I have a ready-made format with all the headings, printed, just to make it easy for me to quickly teach in the video. So under income, you have subscription, profit on sales, profit on advance, equipment, and so on. I'll explain step by step why they are income. Down, if you have some list of expenditure, these also I will mention in while. So we go back to question now. This is the question. I'm going to unhighlight everything just to focus on the key concepts. Okay. Now I won't be needing this working anymore, so I'm going to remove this. So this is your question. Now, when you're solving your income statement, what you need to understand is that in the income, subscription is one of the major source of income. Main source of income is subscription. Then the clubs can conduct different activities other than the core activity of the club. So if the club has conducted different activities, like you can see a seed sale, dinner dance, these are different activities. If there's profit, you need to show it under the income heading. If it's loss, you need to show under the expenditure heading. That's the only major difference. Now for simplicity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do serially based on the additional information. Remember that all these additional information need to have a working to be done, because working will show you that whether the missing figure is either income or expenditure. So I'm going to do step by step, but in exam you don't need to do step by step. First you can do subscription, then you can do in a sequence as you prefer. But right now I'm going to go according to the question. Okay. Let's start off with first one, equipment valuation. So you need to make laser for this. Now for making income and expenditure account, workings are very important. So we'll focus on this. This one, income and equipment at valuation. So for this, I'm going to working. This is your equipment. You can see it's a laser. I want you to make the laser first. Pause the video, make the laser, and then play it again to simultaneously. So this is the format. You have, it is a laser format, right? So I don't want to be wasting my time typing, so I'm just going to highlight to show the step by step. I want you to do it simultaneously in your copy. You start off with the opening balance of the equipment. Remember, equipment is an asset, so assets opening balance will be debit side. So first you need to fill this 840. You can also count the number of lines and then make your format. So the opening balance of asset will always be in debit side. So I have opening balance of 840. That is obtained from here. Question, you can see 840 opening balance. This is the closing balance. Then second, what you do is after placing the opening balance, place the closing balance as 3000. Yeah, 3000. The closing balance is also BD. Remember, opening balance BD, closing balance is BD. The balance breakdown is termed as opening and closing balance, not the carried down, not CD. So always make the habit of thinking opening and closing as BD, brought down. The opening balance in debit side, closing balance on debit side, but closing balance should always be placed below the total line. Notice that this is below the total line. Now, when you place it below the total line, the total lines in both sides are always in the same line. It will be in the same line. So your closing balance should be placed in the other side as carried down. So the BD and CD they are the same thing. They mean the same thing. But what? While placing it, first, if it's an asset, place it below total line, and then place it simultaneously above the total line in the next side. This is how you place the opening and closing balance. Also, for the rest also it follows the same. Like for example, your seed supply in question 2, amount owed for seed supply is current liability. So liabilities have opening balance in the credit side. So 128 in credit side, 84 will also be in credit side. See, 128 in credit side because it's a liability opening balance. Then below the total line, again you have closing balance here. And when you place it below the total line, you have to place the same amount as a carried down in the other side, just above the total line. This is the rule. It follows the same rule for all the items. Okay, we'll be doing that in a while. So let's complete equipment. So equipment, first thing what we did is we placed the opening and closing balance first and foremost. Now what you need to second is we need to see the receipt and payment to check if we have purchased any equipment during the year. So I'm going to the question. You see the payment side. You can see a purchase of gardening equipment. There has been a gardening equipment purchase. Now most students have questions like which side should I place in the ledger? Should I place in the debit side or credit side? Now there are two ways of analyzing this. First one, what you can analyze is go to up here. Okay, go to your question. First thing what you analyze is that see when we buy gardening equipment, we are the accountant. Gardening equipment increases in the business. Increase in gardening equipment is increase in asset. Increase in asset is debit according to a rule. So it means we need to record in the debit side. So here in the debit side, you record it as 2842. And when you're writing the reason, you write bank because there's an outflow from the bank. This is how we do it. Now, if you did not find this easy, you can also think it this way. Just extract the entry from here. This receipt and payment is actually your replica of your cash book, or you can just say bank. Since all this transaction related to banking transaction, you can think this as a bank ledger. Just think of this as a bank ledger. If you want to, bank account, if you want to extract this entry, let's extract this entry. If you want to extract this entry, it would be gardening equipment debit. Remember in credit side, we read the first contents, that is gardening equipment debit, bank account credit. So when you say gardening equipment debit, bank account credit, gardening equipment, here we have written equipment, so it's equipment account debit. Equipment debit means you have to record in the debit side. See, equipment debit side, but you have right bank. That's how you analyze. Okay, after having done that, now if you look up your question, there are no further purchase of equipment. This is one purchase again, means there are no other further purchase. You don't need to worry about it. So you go to your solution now again. I'm in the working note. Now what you do next is you add this total up. See, I'm going to say how to do the total. First you add this debit side total, you will get 3682, and then copy the same total here 3682 in the credit side because both sides has to be equal. Then up here this would be a missing figure, the income and expenditure. You need to write income and expenditure account as a missing figure, and this indicates depreciation. The missing figure is depreciation. So you're going to subtract 3682 minus 3000, and you get 682 as the missing figure. Now this is depreciation, and this has to be shown as an expense in the expenditure section. So I'm going to show that section here. Go down here under the heading of expenditure, you can see depreciation of equipment, which I have made ready-made format. So you just need to place it here. Go to your work note 682 to place it here this way. So this is how we do for the rest of the items. For every item we'll be solving and placing it here. This is the main calculations part that you need to understand in clubs. Okay, let's go to the second part. Back to question. We just did for equipment at valuation and the missing figure was depreciation. Now the next one is amount owed for seed purchase, which was a current liabilities. So amount owed for seed purchase is we have bought seed on credit and we owe money to the supplier. So you can write seed supplier. Okay, go to working, go to second one. Second working. So here I've written seed supply because it's the amount owed to seed supply. Remember the opening balance will be in your credit side because this is our current liability. So you have opening balance, closing balance, and closing balance here. Now, after having placed the opening and closing balance, now we go to additional information to check if we have made any payments to the seed supplier because seed suppliers will make payment, we don't receive money. Look at the payment section. You can see in the first line payment to seed supplier. So 407 has been paid. Now you can do two ways here also. Either you can extract the into the easiest way. When you extract this entry seed supply account debit, bank on credit. So seed supply debit means you need to post in the debit side. So in the debit side, you can write bank and place the amount 407 this way. Okay. And when you add 407 plus 84, you get 491. The same total you write it here. And from this total, if you subtract 128, you will get 363 as the missing figure. That is INE. You write purchase and missing figure. It means income and expenditure account. You need to indicate purchase and then put it as missing figure. If I have gone too fast, you can just pause the video and do step by step. Okay. Now, regarding sales, you can see there's additional solution out here. So I'll tell you why. Go back to the question. So here we can see that we have purchased seed, and if you see at the receipt section, there is sale of seeds. So what you can understand here is that the gardening club, Himal Gardening Club, is doing an additional activity other than its core activity, and that is it is buying and selling seeds. So this is a different activity. When there's a different activity, you need to calculate separately profit or loss made by the business. That was taught in the format yes here. You can also conduct other activities like buy and sell of seeds and so on. If it does so, profit must be computed separately. So since this is a different activity, we need to compute profit, and the formula of profit is sales minus cost of goods sold minus expenses. Simple so relating business format. Sales minus cost of goods sold minus expenses. So sales, look up your question. The sales is this. The seed sales, yeah, 612. 612. 612, you can see there, less cost of goods sold. Now the formula of cost of goods sold we know is opening stock plus, if you try to remember the formula is opening stock plus purchase plus carriage inward minus closing stock. But in the question, there are no information regarding opening stock. There is no information regarding carriage inward and closing stock. So all are zero, we can assume. So we only have purchase value P. Purchase itself becomes the cost of goods sold, that is 363. So we are placing COG as 363. And minus expenses, there are no further expenses in the question related to seed sales. If you look up here, there is no further information. So it means our profit is the difference of these two. You can see that the sales is higher. So difference profit is 249. Now I told you that if there's profit, you have to show income. If it's loss, you have to show another expenditure heading. Now this is profit. So in your up here, you can see a solution profit on seed sales. This is where you place it. Profit and sales sale. That was 249. This is how you place it, and of course you need to write the work note number. The work note number is work note number. This is 3. Seed supplies I place 3. Equipment 1, opening equipment 1S 1, equipment 2, and then seed supply 3. So this is work note 3. Here you write W3. You need to indicate from where you got this. Okay, that's done. Again, back to question. We just did for seed purchase. Same way we are going to for amount for printing for dinner dance. Notice that I am coloring it to show that this has been done. I will color different colors. Now amount owed for printing for dinner dance. This is also your current liabilities. So you can say printing payables or you can say printing supplies, no worries. So work note 3. Okay, it's up here. Printing supply, you can see there. Remember, this is current liability, so we have opening balance in the credit side 612. The closing balance also in the credit side below the total line 75. And then The closing balance must be placed as carried down in the other side, so above the total line, just above the total line. So this also we place. Make sure you pause the video, make the format, and then fill it up. Do simultaneously. Okay, after having filled up the opening and closing balance, which was given in the question, it's given up here, opening and closing, we simply place these two, so it's not a problem. Now what we do is we look up again in the payment section to see if there's any payment made for printing, since this is to do with printing. Down you can see printing for the other, there's a payment of 128. So again, if you extract the sentence, this is going to be printing supplier debit, bank on credit. So we're going to portion the debit side. Now I'm saying printing supply and not the exact word here, because when they make receipt and payment, they write in the form of narration. So you just need to understand that this is actually being paid to printing supplier. So printing supplier debit means in the debit side, you need to post 128. Yeah, bank and 128. That's how you do. Okay, now you add this two up, you get 203. The same total you place it here. And from 203, if you subtract 62, you get income and expense account, that is purchase, which is the missing figure as 141. Okay, after having done this, now what you need to see that this is also a different activity. Here also we need to compute profit or loss made on the activity conducted. So if you go to the question again and see, printing for dinner dance and dinner dance are related activity, because you can assume that there's a dinner dance activity being conducted by the club and they are doing some printing. So these two are connected. So you need to focus on all those items that have dinner dance expense and printing. Yeah, there's dinner dance expense of 174, and for the up and down there are no other dinner expenses. If you look at the right receipt side, there's annual dinner dance ticket sales. So they have sold tickets for the dinner dance entry fees, and they have received 2250. Annual dinner dance 2250. Okay, so we are in the working. First we place sales as 2250. You can see there 2250 again. I'm showing you 2250. Yeah, this one. Then less cost of goods sold means your purchase out here 141, because there's no opening stock, closing stock, carry forward. Whatever is the purchase, that's your cost of goods sold. Less expense. Expense is your this dinner dance expense 174. So if you solve this part, you get a positive value, which is profit. If it was negative, you would write it as loss. Again, profit is your income. So now you go up here and you add profit on dinner dance. Indicate this as working note 4 and pull the amount here. Notice that these are profits, that's why it is common income. If it was loss, you would come down here, down section. Okay, back to questions. So now we are in the next one, that is prepayment for insurance. It is prepaid insurance in short. Prepaid insurance. Prepaid insurance is the asset, so opening and closing balance in debit side. So let's go to that. 405. Yeah, insurance you can see there. The opening balance is in debit side. Closing balance also debit side, but below the total line. Also remember this, below total line. And whatever you write below total line, you have to write above the total line in the other side as CD. Same rule applies for everything. Okay, after having placed this, now we go to the receipt and payment to check the payment for insurance, if there's any payments. We go up here, there is down here, insurance payment 340, you can see there. So if you extract this insurance entry, insurance account debit, bank or credit, insurance debit means in the debit side, you need to write bank and place the amount 348 this way. Now if you add this two up, you get 406. The total is 406 out here, same. And from 406, if you subtract this 206, you will get the missing figure as 254. That is referred to as income and expenditure account, and that's an expense. Now, we don't sell insurance, so you want to have profit or loss for this. So basically what we do for this is we place this amount as expense straight away in the income statement, income and expenditure account. So go down here under the heading of expenditure, you can see insurance here. We write it W5, 105, and then copy the expenses. That is 254. 254. Okay. Back to question. Now we're going to do for substitution. This substitution is the most important part. Both lines indicate for substitution. So we're going to do this step by step. Substitution is very, very important. It carries 3 to 4 marks just for the working. So Make sure you pause the video, make the format, and then do step by step. Okay, so we're going to substitution now. When you're making a substitution laser, you need to, have how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines just for, making entries. This is not required. Okay, so how to step by step now? See, it looks like there are a lot of numbers here, but if you follow step by step, you'll understand. Make the format first, then observe the video and do it step by step. First, you write substitution account. Okay. To start off, go to the question. This has to connect with the question. You can see a subscription paid in advance is current liabilities, which you have marked. Current liabilities have opening balance in the credit side. So opening balance, closing balance, 360 and 135 in the credit side. In the credit side, you have 360 opening balance because this was advance income. Then closing balance below the total line. Then when you place your closing balance, you also need to write the carry down at the other side above the total line, this one. So these three comes simultaneously from the first line. Okay, back to question. Now we're going to the second part. This is your current asset because this is subscription receivable. Subscription receivable is a current asset. So current assets have opening balance in debit side. So 180 is going to be opening balance, 225 is going to be closing balance in the debit side. So see here, opening balance 180. Debit side, closing balance below the total line. Debit side, and this will come as CD above the total line in the other side. Okay, so this is how we place the opening and closing balance. So after having placed your opening and closing balance, notice that we have so many entries posted here from the opening and closing balance because it's of the asset and liabilities. Okay, after having done this, now you go back to your question. Remember, substitution is your income, so you will see that in the receipt side. Here you can see substitution received. So when you receive substitution, very simple. If you extract this entry, it's going to be bank account debit, substitution account credit. So substitution account credit means in the credit side you need to post it. In the credit side you can write bank and post it 5040 this way. Okay, now after having done that, this is complete. Now all you have to do is do the total. See this way. When you show the steps, it's by step by step. You add the credit side total, you will get 5625. Copy the same total in your debit side, and now you get the missing figure as 5625 minus 180 minus 135. If you subtract it, you get the missing figure as 5310. That you need to write as income and expenditure account, and this is the amount that you can show as income in the subtraction section of the income. So here it's up here, right up here, subtraction. This is your working note W6. Okay, and then you can place that amount here. This is where the important section is. 5310 this way. Okay, so after having done this, you have just completed the substitution calculation, which is very important. Now we go back to question, and in the question we notice that all the the asset and liability sections have been solved. Okay? All of them have been colored, so this section is complete. Now next what you do is, after having done this, now you need to check all the receipt and payment accounts to ensure that you have placed everything in the format. The statement of financial position is complete, just the income and expenditure section. Okay, let's go serially now. Now I'm going to go serially and then color them up. So opening bank balance, we have used it in calculation of opening accumulated funds. So this is gone. I'm going to color this. Means it is no longer required anyway. It was used to calculate opening capital. Next one, we have show entry fees. See, that's the color sections are already gone, so I'm not focusing on that. Show entry fees 3 to 6. Now this is receipt, so you should show in the income section. But before you do that, check if there are any expenses related to show. Like here, see, this is show entry fees. I'm going to color this as. Okay, let's color this thing. different. Okay, this one, pink. So entry fees, and if you see in the expense side, you can see show price and then show expenses, related item. See related item. So you need to calculate profit or loss. If it's profit, the income. If it's loss, you're going to show it in the expense section. So I'm going to add the expenses 247 plus 148. If I add this up, you can see 395 is the expense, while 326 is the receipt. So obviously it's a loss. So I'm going to show this in working. Here you can see W7 working loss on show. Sales minus expenses, since there is no cost of goods out here. Sales is your 326, which is given here. You can see again. Sales is 326, and then expenses sum of these two. If you add these two, you get 395, and if you subtract it, you will get 395 as expense. Okay, the loss is 69. Sorry. So if you subtract these two, you get 395 equals to 395 minus 326. You get a loss of 69. So you can write 69 as loss out here. So the loss you need to put in expense since the loss. Go up here. So notice that here there's loss, and so this is going to be work note 7W7 and place 69 here. Okay, back to question. Now we have done the show entry. Then down here there's equipment hire. Equipment hire means we have given some equipments that we have on hire and received 420. This has nothing to do with purchase or sale of equipment, so it had not gone in the equipment account. Equipment hire means we have some equipments that we given hire. So 420 is receipt. Straight away this has no related expenses. So you're going to place this up here in the answer 420. Yeah, equipment hire. This is receipt. Receipt is income. 420. Okay, this is done. Back to question. So equipment hire also complete. Okay. So receipt section, all the items have been recorded some way or the other, so it's gone. Now in payment section, the color sections are gone. Meeting room rent, there is nothing for the expenses. So meeting room rent, you're going to record as expense, 750. So go to your solution. Now rest are very, very simple. All you just have to copy it, right? You can see that 750. The second one is your, okay. The secretary's honorarium means, expenses incurred to honor the guest who come to your club. So there's 100. We need to put this as well. Okay, place here. Just copy it. Speaker's expenses. This is also an expense. Just copy it rest now. Speaker's expense 240. Then there's bank charges. Remember, these don't have any additional information, so no need to working. Just continue with it. Expenses. Then advertising is also an expense. Advertising expense, you can see 128 this way. And then there's postage and telephone expense. Postage and telephone expense here 142. So this way. So basically what we did is we have placed all these items. Gone. This also gone. So all colored. Now this last one, you can see closing balance. This has gone in the statement of financial position. So this also gone. Means we have basically filled up everything in the required format. So after having done this, now your answer is more or less complete. So first thing what you do is you add up all the income. Yeah. Add up income 5310 plus 249 plus 235 plus 420. You add it up, you get this as your total income. So that is your total income. And then you add up the total expenditure. This way, you add up all it 69 plus 750 plus 100 plus 240 plus 128 plus 126 plus 25 plus 254 plus 142 plus, okay, I guess that's it. You solve this? Oh no, I'm sure there's a mistake out here. The best way what you're gonna, I'm gonna add this way faster. I do this auto sum, it will come to 2391. So I'm going to place 2391 here as the sum of all these expenses. So when I get the total expenses, Now what I do is, you can see that the income is higher. So total income minus total expenditure gives you your surplus. You can write this as surplus, or you can write excess of income over expenditure. So after having done this, the income statement also complete. Now this amount should be taken in the statement of financial position under the heading of accumulated fund here. See, this is where you take it finally. And then you add this two, you get 3119 as your. Okay, what did I do mistake? Yeah, I placed the formula wrong. 6214 minus 2391 gives you 3823. You place this 3823 out here. If you add this two, you get 441 as net accumulated fund. And when you add this and this, you get your total capital liabilities. This must be equal to total assets. So this is how you complete your income and expenditure account. Now in the real exam, first you need to make an income and expenditure account by doing all these workings. Now in exam, these many workings would not come, just one or two would come. So all you need to get used to it. And then second, after making your income statement, you're supposed to make statement of financial position. But for simplicity, first I've taught you statement of financial position and then income statement. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Thank you.